I'm going to talk to you today about the assignment, your major assignment for the semester, which is your researched argument paper. Um, this is going to be done in two different steps. We've already done the pre-writing, you've done your outline, you've done some pre-writing, and now I want you to put this into an actual draft. And by a draft, I mean this is your best work so far. You have all the parts. You have a works cited page that you've done your best to format correctly, and you've used your citations throughout your paper correctly. Remember, you cannot include a source on your works cited page unless you've actually cited it. So make sure that you're using citations and quotes and things like that as well. I have a few other videos up for you on things like summarizing and responding and paraphrasing and all that kind of stuff. So have a look at those if you're in trouble at all. Okay, so you have an assignment sheet for the research argument paper, so make sure you have that with you when we go through this. If not, pause me and then come back. There are some basic requirements for your paper. Okay, everybody always asks me, so how long does it have to be? Well, at least 4 pages, which means you should aim to get on the 5th page of actual text. This does not include your works cited page, okay, so this is just the paper. And you're going to have MLA format. You need to use at least 4 sources. 2 have to be peer-reviewed journal articles. And we've talked about that as we've gone along, and I made notes of those when you did your research journal 1 and all of that. So make sure that you have at least 2 academic articles. The other 2 may be journal articles or newspaper articles or news source articles or interviews and that kind of stuff. But you have to have 2 researched peer-reviewed journals. And we've talked about that already, so you don't have to worry about that too much. You have to have a formal structure. That's one of the reasons why we did the outline. It has to be documented in appropriate ethical MLA style, and it has to be written in a formal, clear style. Basically, I don't want it to sound like you're talking to your friends on the weekend. I want it to sound like you're talking to a room full of people who know about your topic. So no hedging, no hiding, but also present yourself well. Use formal written English, use edited English, and we're going to walk through some of that as we go along too. But I want this to be your best academic work. Okay. Your essay has to have 5 parts. The introduction that introduces the topic itself and then your thesis. A background paragraph that gives us what we need to know to be able to follow the rest of your argument. You need to have 2 to 4 paragraphs that identify your main ideas, the ones that are on your side, basically. You need at least 1 refutation of opposing argument, so something that the other side, somebody who might disagree with you, would say, and why either it doesn't matter or why it matters not enough. Okay, so they don't have to be absolutely wrong, but you have to show us that you've done your homework and you know that there is another side and some of the things that they might say. You also have to have a conclusion paragraph. Please don't start this with in conclusion. If it's your last paragraph and it's not your conclusion, we have other problems. Okay. Each body paragraph has to have at least 1 piece of concrete evidence from your research. Okay. You have to use either a quote or a paraphrase or statistics, something that backs up your own statements. Because remember, you're not an expert. You need experts to help you make your stand. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that. And there's a couple of things there that show you, okay, you need to introduce your quotes. That video, the quoting and paraphrasing, sets that up for you as well, so that might be more helpful than just kind of looking at things. This needs to be academic and polished. It helps add credibility to your voice. Read it out loud or have Word read it to you. You all have access to Microsoft Word, Office 365 because you're students, so use that. When you're open your document and go click on the top where it says review. And then over on the left-hand side, there'll be a little button that you can push to read to me or read aloud. I forget which one it says. And it's, that Siri or Cortana voice that you have on your computer. Um, it will read to you, and it helps because it's not your own voice hearing it, but it also helps because it only does what you've told it to do. So it won't pause until there's a comma or a period, and you can see how all of that works together. The other thing we're going to do with this particular draft is submit it to Nettutor. Um, and I want you to take what Nettutor says to you seriously. It's an actual real person going through your paper. It's another set of eyes besides mine and yours. And so it's a good resource. And there are details on here on the assignment sheet that will tell you how to get there. But on our optional resources tab on Blackboard down that left-hand side, click on that, and then there's a click for Nettutor, and it'll walk you through the process. Just make sure you've already saved your paper before you get to that point. A live tutor will read your paper and get feedback to you within 48 hours. I'm having you turn in your paper to me and to Nettutor on the same day. Hopefully my turnaround will also be 48 hours. So you'll have that back to you by Monday morning. And then part of this is making sure that you have done your work well. And even for the rough draft, I want you to push to get on that 5th page. You should have plenty of resources, plenty of things to say about your particular topic, and make sure that you've gone through this really well. When you've got it on Word, look at your word count. Before you do the works cited page, it should be at least 1,200 words. Okay, which is why we tell you Times New Roman 12 point. That way, everybody's page count matches the word count. And so there are those things. Make sure that you give that you post your paper, save it to your computer, right? Because you have to do that for Nettutor as well, and then post it as an attachment in Blackboard. These things are going to be due on a Thursday so that I can have the weekend to grade things, and you can have back on Monday, and we'll do a few other things with it at that point. This is the rough draft, and the final draft is the same thing, only it's been polished. So it still has to meet all the criteria, but it also has to meet the relatively free of surface errors, and it has to be all done. Everything polished up, everything made sure that you have all your citations correct, and that you've run it past and through the editing and stuff that we're going to do after we write this. So make sure that you've gone through the assignment sheet. Make sure that if you have questions about what's on the assignment sheet, that you email me or post a question on the discussion board, and we will all do well with that. This is always the same topic that you've been working on all semester. Please don't change your mind now. This is way too late. We have a lot of work to get done and not a lot of time to finish. So make sure that you're walking down what you need to and marking down a list of things you need to get done. Remember, this is a researched argument. You do have to take a stand. You have to give me reasons why you're taking that stand, and why the other side is not worth taking. So that's it in a nutshell.